So we have this F2L case in the front. How would you solve it? Now, it's understandable that most people would just rotate and then solve this case like this. But by changing just one part of the algorithm, you can eliminate that rotation by putting it here, doing one move, and then doing pretty much the same solution. So if you want to get good at this technique, you need to know how to do F moves properly. The standard ways are basically probably like this, which is alright, with your left thumb, and maybe like this, and then this. Those are basically the basic ways, so if you cannot do them, then you may as well rotate. So basically, the idea is when you have your front left slot unsolved, and the edge is misoriented, which means the side color matches the front, as you can see here. If it was oriented, it would be like this because it is matching this side, but to be misoriented, it'll be touching the front. So the idea is when you do F, you basically create a rotationless F2L case, and you can put the pair here and then do an F prime afterwards. So you can do F and then 2gem, which is basically IONU moves, or pretty much any, but mostly means IONU. And as you can see, we put it here and then we do F prime. So this is one of my favorite applications of this because you basically don't need to change the way you solve it. Basically, you do F and then pair this up in the normal way. U prime, R prime. And then to insert it here, you basically put it like this, as if you're about to insert it into here. But what you do is RU to R prime, and that puts it here, and then do an F prime afterwards. Here's another really good case to use this, and there's basically 3 ways you can do this. So firstly, like this, where you basically do F and then solve this F2L case like this. And when it's paired, you can just simply insert it here, and then solved. And then the next way is you can put like this, and when you do an F, they're already set up, so you can basically just do IU to R prime and put it in. And then the final way is like this, where basically when you do an F, the edge goes in here, so it's basically the same thing. This edge is basically misoriented, so you can do a sledgehammer to pair them up, because what this pair essentially is this case, which is the flipped edge case in the slot, and this is basically like a flipped edge in the slot. So when you do sledge, it pairs up, and then after you do sledge, the pair's already here, so you can just do another F prime afterwards. So it goes like this. Actually, from this final angle, you can do F U to solve this case like this, but I feel like it's a bit unnecessary. Only good when you're doing, say, EO stuff, or maybe VLS, not VLS, ZBLS, but that's a bit advanced. F2 and F prime can also be used when you have an edge solved here and the corner is somewhere else. It can be in the slot or anywhere else. So if it's like this, you could go like this and then solve it like that. Probably only good for all skip trick purposes. For this case, rather than doing this, I prefer to do this with IUD moves because it's very fast. But some people may prefer this, where you put the corner here and then do F and then solve this case with IU to R prime. That pairs them up and you can just put them here. Similarly, for this case, you could put the corner here, you do F, and that's already set them up, but you have to put them here. So IU to R prime, F prime. And then for the other cases, like this one, I mentioned it in this video where I showed how to do the twisted corner cases. And for the left slot, you could do this. I don't think it's worth it. Probably, as I said, only good for edge orientation or all skip trick. So you can do this and then solve this case, which is basically the same thing as before. And then for this case, you can just go like this, solve this case. Like that. I don't think it's worth it though, as I think just doing the way I taught is better. Now, if you want to take this to the next level, you can force an F2 to an F prime case. For example, in this, We could insert it like this, but now we pretty much have to rotate. We could go like this. There's something cooler you could do, which is basically to set up into an F2 Gen F prime case. Basically, with this pair, you can basically do Sledgehammer, but don't do the last move, because the last move is F prime, but if you want to then do an F2 Gen F prime case, you can just do F. So the Sledgehammer basically cancels out, and you can go straight into an F2 Gen F prime case. Maybe not that lucky that a case will already be there, but just a simple thing if you want to try it. And maybe to get you started, you may know that if for your last pair, if one of these two edges aren't oriented, then maybe you can try this. But it's very advanced. So I'm not the greatest person to explain all of this. So if you want to learn more about this, I recommend watching someone called Jane McNeil or Brian Sun. I'll put the links up there. And they have so much to talk about this stuff. So yeah, watch their videos if you want to know more about it. Alright, thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, but I just want to make this clear. F2 Gen F prime is only a concept, not a way to solve everything, if that makes sense. Basically, you can use it to solve some F2R cases, but it's not going to work every single time.